Trucks.
Grux.
Grux. Isaac, hello.
Trucks. Trucks of regret, trucks of nostalgia, trucks of today, and trucks of yesteryear. So it's been a good couple of months since we last recorded a Trucks.
That's true.
The music Trucks, which was the last one that went up, was recorded back in the spring. And the reason for that is that Josh has been working a whole lot. And he was essentially helping put a bar to bed. He was tucking it in and fluffing up the pillows and, making sure it was comfortable before the big mallet came out and conked it on the head.
It was just me and the boss working there for a little bit. Got up to 6 days a week. A small bout with COVID kind of put a spanner in those works for a while, but then I went right back to it. It was a lot. It was a lot of standing behind a bar, which, wouldn't you know it, is the damn thing I wanted in the first place. So, God bless.
Monkey's paw, etc.
Yeah.
But that bar is now gone.
Toast. Yes.
Josh has a new bar job, which will not really take him quite as much of his time.
Yeah, not for a little while, and probably not ever.
Yeah, and but this bar that Josh saw into its grave was a sort of an important place for us back when we both lived in New York, and certainly a very important place for you. After I lived in New York, because it's your first bar job.
Yeah, a very important place in many ways. Let me put this in perspective. I took Monica there on their 21st birthday, right? And most recently I took Monica there on their 30th birthday.
Yeah, this is a decade-long project.
Yeah.
Because we went there before that. Do you remember when we actually went to Lucey's for the first time? As we had decided to bar crawl down 3rd Avenue. I can't believe that I was ever young enough to consider doing something like that.
It would have been like something like it was pretty much in the first year of the bar's life. So that would make it just about 10 years ago.
Yeah, we saw the bar from beginning to end. Sadly, I did not see the bar to its end, but Josh certainly did.
You got to visit in the last year.
I got to visit. Yep. I had good times in that bar. I had bad times in that bar. I had particularly bad times outside that bar. And then was helped back into the bar where Henry helped me wipe the blood off.
Right, you got to see the basement.
And offered me a joint.
You got to see the basement long before I did, actually. Was it a total shit show down there?
It was a shit show down there, yes.
Yeah.
One of the things that you did was make it less of a shit show, I understand.
Momentarily. It got shitted up again rather quickly.
Well, that's entropy for you.
But let's start further back in time. I've been wanting to ask you, actually. Maybe my memory is wrong on this, but I recall our introduction to this bar happening because you had sort of biked past it one day and decided somehow and for some reason that it looked worth checking out. Does that agree with your memory?
I mean, my memory is full of shit. I think that it might have been the reason that I suggested that we bar crawl down 3rd is because I had biked past it and thought, ooh, vibes.
I mean, it's amazing because we get told all the time that people walking past the bar couldn't even tell that it was a bar. So I'm curious about what it is that you saw, if you can possibly remember.
I mean, I'm absolutely making this up based on the fact that you told me that I told you something. But if I might be hallucinating this, but I think they had their door open.
Okay,
and I could look inside and
you can kind of see through the window there.
The warm and welcoming interior. But maybe it was just nothing but kismet,
Maybe.
Sometimes things like that happen and sort of fate decides itself.
Yeah.
we happened to, and I think if I'm not mistaken, we went in there at a time when Henry was behind the bar and the popcorn bowls were full, which is peak
right.
Lucey's.
Peak
pretty
Lucey's.
much.
Henry, quite a guy.
Yep. Let's share some quick Henry facts.
Henry.
Former actor.
Former actor. He told
South
me that
American adventurer.
Yeah, he's got some Puerto Rican roots, if I'm not mistaken. He told me that his line on TV, he got to deliver a line on TV once, and it was, "Lieutenant, you've got to see this."
I believe it. I think that he could have given that socks.
Henry loves to give speeches about music, like mini lectures about like rock and roll history. He's pretty well versed in that stuff. The Rolling Stones are a favorite of his. He really fucking loves Morrissey, like his solo work in particular.
He has tastes. Yep. I can't say that I can, fully endorse his tastes.
Not fully, but my God, the man can mix a drink. Of this, there can be no doubt.
Yeah, no, his I think it was Henry's drink specifically that sent me down a slide toward drinking way too much. I only pulled out of a few years later.
They were wonderful drinks.
Yeah.
The direction of the drinks changed a little bit over the years, but in the early days it was very particularly focused on like fresh twists on classics. So you got stuff like the Brooklyn Banger, which is like a little bit more of a booze forward Harvey Wall banger. There was the Yellow Howick, which was kind of like Brooklyn's Manhattan. There's a lot of neighborhoody vibes even in like the names of the drinks. Other times they're like named after music stuff. I remember you guys would drag me for being into this drink called the Salt of the Earth for a while, and then
we did.
And then like
never drink anything blue, people. This is still the rule.
One night Henry came out and like we told him about our Salt of the Earth situation, and he like did a little mic drop about how it was that drink is his tribute to Bruce Springsteen, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. When I
later,
think Bruce Springsteen, I think Curacao.
Later, when I started working there, Henry was not in town, but he had that drink on the menu, and he would later tell me that he did that for me. Very sweet. A sweet soul in Henry. A very angry guy, too. I don't feel like we really encountered his temper stuff that much while we were customers. I feel like...
I saw flashes of it.
Yeah.
But certainly not to the degree that you would.
Definitely a bit of a manic presence back there either way. Oh, man, I'm demolition derbying my way through the road today. Definitely a bit of a manic presence back there. He has a way of, like, working a little too hard, like...
Yeah.
Kind of a little on edge.
And drunk, also.
Yes, yes.
Which is not unusual for a bartender, of course. But
no, but that excessive
occasionally too drunk,
was,
I would say.
Yes, that's kind of the bread and butter of Lucey's Lounge. Everyone on the fucking staff was too drunk, including myself, but I tended to hold it well, at least.
Mm-hmm. And you're a man who can hold his substances as a general matter.
Yeah. I like to think so. I did wake up hungover this morning.
I can say that was true. Even though I'm more massive than you are, you can hold your weed and your booze better than I can.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Exactly.
Sometimes one just wants to drink a couple of beers and feel buzzed, but you can't choose whether that's you or not. But we spent quite a while behind this bar doing the whole thing, like, hey, sip my drink. Can I sip your drink? Sip my drink. How does mine taste? How does yours taste?
Yeah.
Which I would say was pretty in line with the intentions of that bar.
Yeah, it was a place for interesting alcoholics to go and hang out for hours upon hours. And that works fine if they're buying $50 worth of mixed drinks every time, but
yes,
sometimes people just bought
the order of the day
bottles of cheap beer, and
exactly fancy cocktails, pretty reasonably priced. Like, they never got higher than $14. They used to be like $12 and $11 back in the day, which was
a
insane.
beautiful time when they were a mere $12.
But it's either the fancy cocktails or the like $4 cans of Miller Lite, which is pretty good. Couple of, pretty good spread there, I guess. No craft beers if you're into like a nice tap. They literally had no taps in there, which was weird.
That's true. It's the only bar that I've ever been to that did not have a single tap in it. Yeah. And I think that was also part of the appeal, because that kept it cleanish, in a certain way. It's
nothing between you and the person behind the bar, just very like unobstructed lines of sight, I guess.
Intimacy is the word.
Yes. I don't know. It's one of those commitments to the bit things, which might not have really been the smartest decision from a business perspective, but it brought something to the space.
Yeah. They originally had this popcorn, which was delicious. They were planning to start serving food for a decade. With occasional inroads being made in that department.
There were some fucking meatballs that Monica's mother really enjoyed, which I don't trust those guys to make meatballs. Henry once told me that he was gonna roast his own nuts.
I believe it. But yeah, no, lackadaisical is the word, I would say.
Absolutely.
Which fit then and still fits now our vibe just fine, I would say.
Yes.
Although we relate to it differently. So there were a number of things that combined to lead to the downfall of Lucey's. COVID certainly being a major contributor.
Yes, probably the primary contributor there. Yeah. I think there's a chance it might still be around if COVID hadn't happened.
But the point that one tries to make here is that there is you're certainly on the edge. I think Lucey's was never going to build up like a buffer for a rainy day.
Probably not.
And when the rainy day occurred, the obvious result happened, and that's the story of a lot of like beloved spots in my history.
It did have a heyday. It's worth saying. Like, you remember it used to get crazy fucking packed in there. There was like this cheesy jazz band that would play.
Yeah, I mean, and of course that was not the Lucey's that I preferred. I preferred the one where it was just a couple of assholes who were always there at the bar.
I liked it sleepy and quiet as well, yes.
Yeah, and you could just sort of sit in the back and cuddle with your friends.
One of the core paradoxes of a bar is that as a customer you kind of want it to be quiet and almost lonesome in a way, but of course as a proprietor that's the opposite of what you want.
It's the same dilemma with the coffee shop, except even worse, because the drinks cost a fifth of as much as they do at the bar. But yeah, no, I've watched a lot of spaces which were beautiful and well appointed and often full of pillows. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I keep coming back to that, but it seems to be a common denominator among places that are born with dreams in their hearts and then are schnockered by capitalism and the reality of property prices, among other things, or by the staff drinking all the booze, or what have you. There are many factors involved.
Yes.
But the places that seem like too soft and roomy and good and quiet for this world do not often remain in the world.
10 years though, pretty fucking good run.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, I don't like to look back at it and think that it was 10 years, but it certainly fucking was.
Yeah, it's really quite an end of an era in like it's definitely like the turning over of a new chapter in my life. That's for sure. Like
definitely.
Even
so
before
you're
I
now
worked
working
there.
in a considerably more normal bar, I would say.
Yes, much more normal bar, and the cocktails are designed to be made speedily there rather than made super well. There's, it's a whole different concept, and maybe it's one that I feel less elementally drawn to. But
True.
It's I like where I'm at now. I like the people that I've gotten to know. It's in the same neighborhood, which I appreciate. I feel quite attached to old Gowanus over there at this point.
If you picture an industrial wasteland, and the bar is under a highway.
Yeah.
Well, these are
not,
I think true.
It isn't literally, but it's close. Mm-hmm. Lucey's was very close to like the railway overpass.
Yeah. So like you get that enhances the sensation of cozy in a way.
The new place is across the street from Popeyes.
That's less cozy.
Yeah.
No two ways about it. Very little cozy about a Popeyes.
Yeah.
Although the late lamented Burger King across the street from us somehow was kind of cozy.
Yeah. Familiarity breeds cozy.
True.
And I think that's the story.
Incompetence also breeds cozy somehow.
Here's the thing about Lucey's, which is irreplaceable, I think.
That giant fucking bar.
Yeah, that giant fucking bar. They're hoping to keep that at some hypothetical new location. But the thing that was irreplaceable, I think, is the specifics of the vibe in Lucey's. For like a neighborhood hangout in Brooklyn, in fucking Brooklyn, that space was like shockingly empty of the kind of like poserism, like the aspirational cool that tends to kind of govern a lot of like social mores in the town of Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I do. I know exactly what you're saying. It was sort of a spot for people who were comfortable with just sort of vibing.
Yeah.
That's a spot that would not have been out of place in, say, Philadelphia.
Yeah. Very come as you are. It's like not any one thing. It's like not like exclusively working class people who come there or anything like that. I'll like definitely like a. Well, back in the day there were young people who did show up at Lucey's, but I would say like the crowd skewed a little older, not super old, but definitely like the over 30 was
It was people who definitely were coming there because they did not want to be in a crowded bar full of
kids,
people who grind all day and then grind all night because of the grind set. Yeah,
quite a variety of people, but the common factor was always that no one was gonna. I don't know. No one was gonna. what's an operative example here? Like no one was gonna
tell you about their screenplay.
Yeah, no one's gonna tell you about their screenplay, or like judge you because your shoes weren't. Yeah. No one's gonna judge you because your shoes weren't.
No one's gonna tell you about their startup. No one's gonna tell you about their
Someone might, but whatever.
Did somebody tell you about their startup?
I bet someone. No, I don't think so. But that also feels more like a California thing in a way.
That's true. What do people talk about in New York besides cocaine?
Fucking, I don't know. What do they talk about? What do people fucking talk about? TV shows? I don't know. People are boring as fuck. You can't escape that.
Yeah, I mean, you can to a certain extent. You just have to be good at it. Like, Kiana has a real talent for getting interesting stories out of boring people. Yeah. I think it's once again the theme that we're going to keep coming back to. It is a vibe thing. And it's like maybe the reason that I felt pulled toward that place in the first place was because of that sense of relaxation.
I remember oh no, sorry about the music outside my window.
It's okay.
I remember an encounter with a dude who wanted to show me his cool like kind of like a karambit knife and how sharp it was.
Yeah, sure.
He demonstrated this to me by like dropping it onto the floor and like letting it stick up out of the floor, Yeah. And then he immediately got kicked out of the bar.
The floor that we like you to put dents in. Yeah. There was the guy that kept bringing a cat into the bar and then just sort of abandoning it amongst the anti-rat.
Knife guy turned out to be a sweetheart, though. Knife guy actually helped me and Henry move a lot of the bar stuff into storage just the day before yesterday.
Wow, thanks, Knife guy.
Yeah.
Off his own back?
What do you mean?
I mean, he just did it out of the goodness of his heart.
Oh no, they paid us.
Oh, okay.
But also, he's a regular of the bar, and yeah, kind of a part of the fam.
Sure.
He's a contractor in real life, so it was his time to shine, I guess. I'm glad he got his moment to be helpful to the bar instead of a liability.
Do you think you'll ever see Punchable Paul again?
Punchable Paul. That's exactly who I'm talking about, actually.
Oh, that's Knife Guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. So of course you'll see him again.
I hope so. Yeah. It's only a matter of time before he gets kicked out of the bar I'm working at now on a permanent basis, probably.
Oh.
That
Life
is the thing. I've definitely
life is good somehow,
Yes, life is kind of sweet.
Even as we have our little wake here, as I sip from my mostly empty bottle of Gatorade Zero.
Yeah. Thanks for indulging us on our bar nostalgia trip, everybody.
It's reasonable. We wanted to ease back in, I think.
You
and
could
also,
go way back.
I just wanted to have this conversation.
For
also.
sure.
Yeah.
You guys could go way back into the Trucks archive and hear Isaac and I mention that we've just come back from Lucey's and we've got a little buzz.
Tell. Yeah. I think on Sleepy Pooped, a classic, we just came back from Lucey's on that one. Yeah, I've had bad dates at Lucy's. I've had good dates at Lucy's. I've had good dates with horrible consequences at Lucy's. I, had, important conversations with friends at Lucy's. I've had nearly friendship-ending conversations with friends at Lucy's.
Yeah. Lucy's made me want to be a bartender, and I got to be a bartender there. So that's, that's a major
Lucy's
win.
Ultimately taught me that I shouldn't drink. But that in itself is valuable and useful. And
I gotta tell you, it's surreal having it not be there anymore. It's been such a steady thing that I could always go to Lucy's. It was always there. There were many years spent wishing I could go to Lucy's more regularly, like that I had the money to do it,
Yeah.
Eventually I got to fucking live there. I might have said this on Trucks before, but I started having this experience of waking up in my room and having it used to be that I would wake up in my room and just not recognize it or where I am or who I am, for a couple of seconds, Yeah, that was replaced by me waking up and being like, why am I at Lucy's? How am I waking up at Lucy's? Looking at my own room and somehow thinking Lucy's is on the other side of the door.
Lucy's is a very comfortable spot. It has that homey vibe.
A terrifying experience, though, to think that I've somehow...
Oh, shit, my bedroom's in the bar now.
I've somehow woken up at work. What the fuck happened? How did I come to this? It never happened. I never fell asleep there. Some people did, crash overnight at Lucy's while they were working there, but I never had to go through that.
It's for the best.
I wonder if that'll still happen.
It's a shame to wake up and then have an anxiety dream. A work anxiety dream.
Yeah.
Last night I dreamt that I had to deliver an hour's worth of mail in order to make an international flight, which means that I'm working too much these days.
And the work dream.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, is there?
So so you say they're sort of jawing about opening up another joint.
Another location, yeah. It'd be a somewhat different concept. He wants to make it more about juice and kombucha and coffee and tapas, and then become a cocktail bar in the evening, and then close at midnight. Seems like too many ideas at once to me, but I think
that strikes me as really difficult to pull off. But
but hey, I wish him luck. If it does open up, I might end up working there. We'll see.
Commuting to White Plains, where you will be able to afford to do that.
Yeah. It had a wonderful last night. I don't think I told you about it yet, did I?
No, tell me about it.
Just a big fucking party on a Sunday. People from years back showed up.
I wish I could have been there.
Staff from long ago, and just like every regular under the sun. It was like probably one of the top 3 nights for business the bar ever did, which is funny how that goes, right? Like, why couldn't it have just been like this? We might have been able to keep it open if you guys kept coming with this level of enthusiasm. But of course, that's not how it works. It's everyone showed up because it was the send-off. Me and a friend from the new bar were secretly DJing in the back for a little while. I got lucky. I didn't have to work too hard. I like kind of stepped back to help out every once in a while, but for the most part I was just chilling. Nick and Erica came through, so we got to kind of do the old school Lucey's hang one final time. What else? Just, yeah, everyone was in a good mood. Like, everyone kind of kept saying, wow, this is the night to be here, you know, which of course it was.
Yeah.
I spent a while just sort of hanging out in the backyard, kind of not moving, just sort of watching it transpire. I remember a moment where I was like, holy shit, it's like 11:30 already, and like in my mind the night was still like just beginning, you know, like that was kind of the moment where it hit me, like, oh, this particular evening is not in fact going to go on forever. It's gonna end, and then I will leave this bar, not really leave the bar for the last time, but, you know, leave it as a place of operating barness for the last time. So, very bittersweet, but I'm very grateful to the bar. I will say, like, in many ways, even going back before I worked there, that bar is probably responsible for a lot of facets of how I turned out, which is terrifying to contemplate.
Yeah, no, you had a lot of, you know, developmental milestones in that bar,
yes,
in
indeed.
or around that bar.
Yeah, definitely culminating in working there, which has somewhat, I'm gonna say, like, transformed the kind of confidence with which I'm able to address this city now. It feels more like I have an actual thing to do here.
Yeah, no, you belong to the nightlife now.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that ends my spiel. God bless you, Lucey's.
God bless you, Lucey's, and it's good that, you know, if you can't have a wake for a bar, then, you know,
yeah,
why can't you? You know, what else can you do? I
stole a candle holder.
Of course.
Oh, look at this. Just as we were getting close. Oh no. I'm trying to open up the map. Here we go. Okay, this doesn't look too hard to deal with.
Teleportation time.
No.
You can just turn left at the
I think
thing.
You know, unless that shit is closed too, we'll see.
Yep. But regardless, yeah, I was at the final night of a Portland bar a couple of years ago, pre-COVID, which had been killed by real estate shenanigans. The people who bought the lot next door rightly claimed that the lot that they bought had some of this bar in it, and therefore the bar had got to go. And I had never been attached to this particular place, but I had been, and it was the first time I'd ever been there, but I was going with somebody for whom it had been their bar, you know?
Yeah.
And so that was sort of its own, like, interesting little wrinkle, getting to see that level of sort of, I don't know. It's hard to love a place of business more than one loves a bar, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe a coffee shop or a music venue, but, you know.
Yeah.
But to see that sort of at second hand, and to, you know, see them giving out free pint glasses and such, it's like, we don't need this anymore.
Yeah. Bars have a special place in the social fabric, for better and for worse.
They do, and now that I'm kind of a committed non-drinker, I feel a want for some space that functions in a similar way, you know?
Yeah, it's hard to
see where that comes from, or, you know, that may just be one of those ambitions.
What about just going to a bar that has good mocktails?
I mean, if such a place exists.
Well, it used to.
Yeah.
Lucey's Lounge. I learned how to make a virgin mojito. Let me tell you guys my virgin mojito recipe. It's really fucking awesome. First, you're gonna want to make some syrup out of Demerara. So just kind of 60-40 water sugar, or no, 60-40 sugar water, demerara sugar. Then you're gonna do 0.75 fresh squeezed lime juice, 0.75 fresh squeezed lemon juice, muddle up some limes and mint leaves. Shake up all that stuff. 0.75 of the demerara syrup as well. And then shake all that up, pour it in a glass over ice, and fill it up with soda water. It is so refreshing. So refreshing.
That sounds delicious. I will make myself one of those in tribute. Or perhaps I won't.
Yeah.
Yes. Perhaps I will find my space to love at a local dojo or old folks home. But anyway,
dojo, get into karate.
Yeah. But yes, no. This has been a sort of a short trucks to get us back into the swing of things.
Yes.
A little acknowledgement of the place that Lucey's had in both of our lives.
Next trucks will be a little heavier, I think.
Next trucks will be a little bit more deep, and with any luck, we'll be out within a more normal for us time frame. And so until then, we bid you adieu.
Yes. Let me just turn off the mirrors and UI here so I can get a good thumbnail.
Yeah.
Perfect. Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cherish your spaces, and while we're at it, tell the people who you love that you love them, just in case.
Yeah. Hey, warm fuzzies, everybody. Have a good truck.
Bye.